Hi, my name is Shardo, and welcome to Sports Talk Channel. As the San Francisco 49ers get the 33-17 win over the Miami Dolphins, as Brock Purdy goes 25 of 37 for 210 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Now I would like to welcome Amin the Dream to the postgame show and Benjamin Camperman to the postgame show.
Hey Shardal, it's good to be on your channel for the first time. I'm honored. Love the work you do here. Sorry I couldn't make it last week. I was very sick. I'm still a little bit sick now, but good to have you on and good to talk 49ers. Very exciting game. There's a lot to break down here.
Yep. Pleasure to be on with you, Shardal. I mean, this is the first time we're doing this together. When I got the invite to come on your channel, I was really happy, really ecstatic. The one and only Shardal invited me on his channel, so pleasure to be on with you. And the Niners got a W, so that's definitely great.
So what were you guys' thoughts on the Jimmy Garoppolo foot injury? And did you it was a big loss because he did really well, but he exited in the first quarter, so that was kind of a punch to the stomach to see him get carted off the field and head to the locker room.
You can start first, Amin.
Yeah, I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo, I mean, that was a tough injury, right? And usually, like, comparatively to last year, like, if Jimmy Garoppolo got hurt, we had Trey Lance on the bench. And then this year, Jimmy Garoppolo is kind of our backup quarterback, right? We expected Trey Lance to start. Then Trey Lance gets hurt, and Jimmy Garoppolo was the backup. And then Jimmy Garoppolo obviously became the starter, and then our starting quarterback in Jimmy Garoppolo goes down this game, and he gets carted off the field. So obviously that's not a good sign. And I was worried. I thought we were screwed. Like, I thought there's no way Brock Purdy comes into this game and we beat the Dolphins without Jimmy Garoppolo. But it happened. Like, we beat the Dolphins without Jimmy Garoppolo, and Brock Purdy. I'm pretty sure we'll talk about him a little bit later, but Brock Purdy did his thing. So credit to Brock Purdy, credit to this defense, credit to this whole team for stepping up in the absence of Jimmy Garoppolo. And I just hope the Jimmy G injury isn't too bad. I think it's a fracture, but I just hope he doesn't miss. I hope he can come back for the playoffs at least.
What were your guys' thoughts on the touchdown by Dre Greenlaw when Tua Tagovailoa fumbled that ball and he ran it into the end zone for the touchdown?
Man, I was doing a lot of stuff today, so I was kind of just like looking at the TV while I was doing my school that I was catching up on and vacuuming and whatever, cleaning the house. But that was a statement of how the whole defense had been playing that whole day. I mean, it had been dominant. It had been like a defense that was bend, don't break. It got like at one point in the game, it got a 4th and 1 stop. I can't remember exactly when that play was, but like that defense got all the right stops at all the right moments. They got 4 turnovers, and then they allowed the Dolphins to get down in the red zone a few times, but either they stopped them because the Dolphins went for it on 4th down, or they got a turnover. So this defense, I think one thing we take away from this year is this defense is truly legit. I mean, there was a lot of questions surrounding it because they hadn't played good offenses this year. Well, like the 4 wins that they hadn't played very good offense. So now you're finally facing a good offense, and wow, I mean, what an absolute dominant performance by Dre Greenlaw and the rest of the defense. I mean, he definitely has earned that extension.
What were your thoughts on the this whole game? Like, overall, was it like one player who did a phenomenal job, or do you think the whole team kind of put a really good effort?
You want to take this one, Ben?
Yeah, I don't care. I would say that it was Nick Bosa when like the Dolphins were really missing Teron Armstead, because Nick Bosa absolutely tore this offensive line apart. I mean, every play he was in there, and you saw a lot of pressure get to Tua Tagovailoa, and that was one of my keys for the game. I mean, get pressure on Tua Tagovailoa, and it's going to limit their big plays. And you could see like Tua was not settled in the pocket, and he was missing a lot of throws, especially earlier on high over the middle. And so they were making Tua uncomfortable, and it really allowed the 49ers to be flexible on offense. I mean, it allowed more margin for error on offense because the defense was playing so well. So, and I mean, Brock Purdy, wow, what a game. What a game. So I'll pass it on to Amin to answer that question.
Yeah, I mean, overall, this was a team victory, right? I mean, credit to Shanahan also. The offensive game plan with Purdy was great, right? Not making it too complicated for him. The two challenges that Shanahan won, like I mean, when those two plays happened, like all right, they got the first down, and then Shanahan throws a challenge flag and it hit the Trent Sherfield didn't fully catch the ball. I mean, great challenge by Shanahan there, and then especially the TV angle of the Gesicki catch. The TV angle of the Gesicki catch, you thought it was a catch, and Dre Greenlaw was there. He was there in coverage. He did a phenomenal job, and you thought it was a catch, right? You thought he got both feet in bounds, and it turns out from another angle, it actually wasn't a catch. So overall, I mean, the defense did their thing. Shanahan with those two challenges. I mean, I would say the Niners in a way kind of got lucky that Tua wasn't on his best. He didn't have his best game today. He was very inaccurate early on, missed a lot of throws. And credit to the Niners defense, they capitalized on those. They got those interceptions on Tua's missed throws and inaccurate passes today. But overall, I mean, great job by the offense, great job by Purdy stepping up. The defense did their thing, and then Shanahan with those two crucial challenges that actually I don't know how the two challenges that were overturned, and credit to Shanahan for that. So overall, I mean the Niners did their thing and they took care of business.
And
So
I
what were your
tweeted. Oh, I was just gonna say I tweeted before this game how Brock Purdy. I said, well, like not before this game. I said when Jimmy Garoppolo gets injured, Kyle Shanahan, especially with Trey Lance, tended to get in his shell of just too predictable. I said Kyle Shanahan has to be aggressive to win this game with Brock Purdy. No matter how many times he throws an interception, you have to be aggressive. You can't just hand the ball off every single play, which is what he had tended to do with Trey Lance earlier on in the season. He was just a little too predictable. So I said, you have to be aggressive. You have to stick to that game plan of we're still going to throw the ball. And so that's what he did. And that's why they got that win. And I mean, they made great second half adjustments and they stuck to the game plan, even when they stuck to that Jimmy Garoppolo game plan and it worked.
What were your thoughts on that interception by Jimmy Ward? I mean, that was amazing. I mean, the athleticism, he jumped in the air, like, he flew in the air and caught that ball and took it down. I mean, that shows how much, he has athleticism, he has speed, and he can catch a ball and do anything with it, score a touchdown with it, or do whatever with it.
This defense is truly, I don't know. The pressure was getting home, so it was allowing Tua to get quick, to make quick decisions. And Tua showed today that, yes, he was an MVP candidate, but he showed today that he definitely can't carry. He's not great under pressure. And so, I mean, Jimmy Ward, I didn't expect anything differently from him. I mean, he's an all-pro, he hasn't really been to the Pro Bowl, but he is an all-pro, one of the top safeties in the league, and he showed it again today.
When Dre Greenlaw scored that touchdown, I could clearly see that Mike McDaniel and the whole coaching staff was very furious and fired up. They didn't really like what they were seeing. I never see Mike McDaniel like that. I don't really see him lose his temper like that. But, in times like this, when another team is doing so well and he's going up against Kyle Shanahan, it's understandable to see him lose a little of his temper on the field.
Yep. I mean, McDaniel was also upset about that challenge call. That challenge call of the Gesicki one, where the Gesicki McDaniel was pissed. Even Wes Welker was pissed. I'm not gonna, but there was some cuss words being thrown at the ref. You could just hear it, you could word mouth it. Oh my goodness! That was a time where Mike McDaniel, not only Mike McDaniel, but Wes Welker were both pissed at that call. I mean, I don't even understand. If you looked at the jumbotron, and even if you looked at the replays, it was obvious. It was so
clear.
obvious that wasn't a completion, but yet they were arguing and getting upset as if they got cheated in a way and it was a completion. Gesicki did have no possession of the football, and even going out of bounds, the ball hit the floor out of bounds. He had no possession of it, and then it hit the ball. Hit the floor out of bounds. So I don't know why Mike McDaniel was so upset. It was a blatantly obvious call that was an incompletion.
To me, when Mike McDaniel got upset at that, I said it's just a football game. We're not here to get mad at each other. We're just here to play a clean game of football, and we're just trying to. Whoever wins the game wins the game. There's no need for getting upset. We're just here to play a friendly game of football. That's it. We're not here to like yell at each other or say curse words at each other. That's not what this sport is about, man. This is players, just play football. That's what it is. Really, really, what it boils down to.
I will say that because this was against his former team, it's probably very competitive. Tempers were flaring, and you have to take into consideration that was a 4th down and 2. They didn't get that call. I mean, the game was most likely almost over. So that was a crucial call, and it was the right call. But if you're a coach, you have to look at it as if we don't get this catch, this is it's over for us. And the thing with Tua is he's not very accurate at those type of outside throws. He's really accurate over the middle. So it wasn't. I mean, it was a good throw, but it was tight coverage as well. And wasn't it Dre Greenlaw on the coverage?
Greenlaw was on that coverage. Yep, he was.
He was all over the field, and he really has been
was.
all season. I mean, this guy definitely, him and Fred Warner are just, they're both Pro Bowl caliber linebackers, and I mean best linebacker tandem in the league.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at Z's, Greenlaw, Fred Warner, I mean, that linebacker trio is ridiculous. Best linebacker trio in the league. I mean, and you mentioned it with Greenlaw. The past couple of games, Greenlaw, we were talking about his aggressiveness and his aggressive style of play. And sometimes that would get him in trouble, right? You saw with the helmet to helmet on Justin Herbert, and he got fined for that.
Yeah.
And sometimes we would see penalties from Greenlaw for helmet to helmet because of that aggressive style of play. But in the last couple of games, I mean, Greenlaw has bounced back, and today he was all over the field making tackles, great in coverage. I mean, Greenlaw did his thing today, and then obviously Fred Warner capped off the game with the interception.
I will say that this team has gotten a lot more disciplined. Like we saw Falcons game, there was a lot of false starts on both sides of the ball, a lot of penalties. But this team has definitely cleaned up a lot of those penalties, and they're getting hot at the right time. I said, it doesn't matter how you finish the game. Start the season. It matters how you finish it. And so, and they're making just everything. This game and these past 5 games have really improved from the beginning of the season. I mean, they're making better second half adjustments. They're just overall everything is better. So it's really nice to see this team finally getting hot again late in the season.
Yep. And
so do you think that the 49ers are going to continue the streak? They've already won 5 games in a row. Do you think they have a chance of winning the remaining games on the schedule?
Yeah, I mean, I was just about to say that, Chardol. This is the toughest team that they were playing for the rest of the season. So even if they lost this game, like, I mean, it wouldn't mean much. Like, if you look at, the division or the NFC West, and it wouldn't really affect them much in the NFC West. Now, they would be tied with the Seahawks, but obviously they're still 3-0 in the division. But this is the best team that you are playing this year, that you're playing for the remainder of the season, which was the Miami Dolphins that had, a good offense, and that's 8-4 right now. Like that was 8-3 coming into the game. So this was the best team that you were playing. This is the best team that you're playing for the remainder of the season. So, I mean, when you look at the remainder of the games, I mean, if I'm the Niners and I look like I could beat the Miami Dolphins, who are competing against the Bills and who are second in the AFC East and who are a really darn good football team, that I would take that confidence going into the Seattle game, going into Tampa Bay game next week. So I think they realistically could, win the remainder of the games. Now, do I expect them to go win it all with Brock Purdy? No, I think, if Brock Purdy is the starting quarterback for the remainder of the games, I think he will struggle at times, and he might lose a couple. But I think the Niners really do have a good shot for the remainder of the season, especially if you could beat a caliber team like the Miami Dolphins. I mean, you should be able to beat these other teams like the Seattle Seahawks, like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I don't know because again, we're 2 games ahead of the Seahawks. They won today. So we're technically only 1 game from being tied from them, but they have to since we have the tiebreaker, they have to get another game up. I think, since you really only have, let's see, we've played, we are 8-4 now. You really only have 5 games left. And the 49ers would have to lose 2 games. And they would also have to lose against the Seahawks as well. So almost 3 games to lose this lead in the NFC West. I really don't think that's going to happen. So I think they're pretty safe. My question is how well, I wanted to see the Jimmy Garoppolo versus Tom Brady rematch next week, and it sucks that it's not going to happen. But this luck was great for Brock Purdy, but how well will he be able to adjust to playing other teams? And also, I mean, definitely like when you have a game plan, if you're a defense, when you have a game plan built to stop Jimmy Garoppolo, right? And another quarterback comes in, you don't know what the game plan for that quarterback is going to be. So to give teams another few weeks to game plan for Brock Purdy, I think today was great, but I don't know if it's going to be as great moving forward just because teams will have more time we're playing Brock Purdy. Like they'll have more time to game plan against him.
I mean, I will say though, credit to Brock Purdy today, because Brock Purdy coming into the game, he obviously there were times where he missed some easy throws, but for the most part, I thought Brock Purdy was poised. As the game went on, he was more comfortable. He made some really nice throws, and people are saying it on Twitter, but he's a little bit more mobile version of Nick Mullins. And I mean, you saw that at time, right? Him scrambling around, trying to extend plays. There was one sideline throw to Brandon Ayuk where he was rolling to his right, and he hit Brandon Ayuk in stride near the sideline. So Brock Purdy definitely showed some good things today. Obviously, he made some mistakes, which rookie quarterback does. But for the most part, Brock Purdy, for the most part, came in, stepped in, did what he was asked to do, and he took care of business, and so did this whole Niners team. But Brock Purdy definitely showed some good things. Now, obviously, the question mark is, will he consistently be able to do that? Will he be able to handle the pressure of the NFL and what it takes to play in this league? And can he play at a good enough level for the Niners to win the remainder of their games, or have a good shot to win the remainder of the games? And that's still the question mark that needs to be answered. But today, I definitely think Brock Purdy came in, he took care of business, and for the most part, he was poised, and there was a lot of good things to take away from Purdy's performance today.
I mean, I also agree with what Amin said about Brock Purdy. I think he had a really phenomenal game today. I think his throws are really good. I mean, some throws were like off. That's every quarterback's gonna have bad times in his game. They're not gonna always be like the best. But it's just, I mean, he's good. I mean, like he surprised me when he came in for Jimmy G because I wanted to see Jimmy G play the whole game injured. So he came in and he took care of the work, and he got the job done, and that's what you want any quarterback to do.
Yeah, I think they definitely, some of this is like a testament to how good the running backs were this week, because Jordan Mason, I mean, what he was carrying the ball hard. Hats off to him, as well as Christian McCaffrey, who broke off a few big runs there at the end. I will say this is not like, it was a good offense that they were facing, but this is not the best defense that they're going to face. I mean, Wilkins in the middle for Miami is good. They have a good cornerback, but coming into this game, they really were not a that good offense. So this was a good matchup for them as well. I'm just curious to see how they face guys like the Buccaneers have a pretty good defense next week. So I'm looking forward to that next week matchup to really see how good he is against better, more upper echelon defenses. And that will probably come in the playoffs as well if he's still a starter. So
yeah, and I mean, it sucks that we don't get the Jimmy Brady matchup, because obviously that was the matchup that a lot of us were looking forward to. But it'll be interesting to see still, right? Purdy, who's a young rookie quarterback, going up against Tom Brady, who's arguably the GOAT, right? In a lot of people's eyes. Now, some people still say Joe Montana, and that's a discussion for a whole nother day. But it'll be interesting to see, right? Purdy going up against Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Tom Brady. That's still an interesting matchup, right? Young gun rookie, Mr. Irrelevant, and against Tom Brady, who's the GOAT. So that'll definitely be an interesting matchup, even though we don't get to see the matchup of Jimmy G and Tom Brady.
So we have a question from the Iman Report. Says, should the Niners sign Baker Mayfield off the Panthers practice squad to back up Brock Purdy?
Ooh, he's still on that contract, right? Yeah,
I think so. I haven't really looked into it. I haven't really done extensive research in that. I have to do more research in that.
No, I don't. I really don't think that would be smart if you're the Niners. That's a huge contract to pick up. No, absolutely not. Also a distraction kind of in the locker room.
Yeah, I agree. No to Baker Mayfield. Obviously, if you look at that contract, which isn't great, And Baker Mayfield, I've never been a huge fan of Baker Mayfield. I mean, number one, bringing in Baker Mayfield this late, I mean, he obviously would have to learn the playbook, get a grasp of the playbook. That obviously, even if you brought him in, let's say tomorrow, like he obviously wouldn't have a full grasp of the playbook right away. You would have to ease him in. And Brock Purdy, obviously, I would assume that he has a better grasp of the playbook from being there all off season. So no to Baker Mayfield. I'm not a huge fan of Baker Mayfield. I think he's not the great. He's not the play on the field isn't great. Him in the locker room also isn't, as a personality wise, being in the locker room isn't great. So I've never been a huge fan of Baker Mayfield. I mean, he's just not all that. And bringing him in this late into the season, I just don't think it's worth it.
My question to you is, is how long do you think it will take? Like, do you think the 49ers will save Trey Lance for the playoffs, or do you think they'll try to, like, rush him back?
I wouldn't rush him back.
Yeah, I don't know. Because I think at this point you're in a pretty good position. You'll probably get third seed. You'll probably win the division. And Brock Purdy is a better quarterback than Nick Mullins, I think, was. I mean, ability is there. And they both don't really have an arm, but the only thing that I would say is concerning about Brock Purdy is there were a few plays in this game where he threw it and it got tipped up, and if the guy would have been in the right position, it would have been an interception. Or like that, there was this one play near the sideline where Brandon Ayuk ran an out. I think it was in the second quarter, and he missed him, and it was like way over his head, and he was wide open. So there are some accuracy issues that like better defenses could exploit, and that's like with any backup quarterback. I mean, this was an impressive performance for a third string quarterback who really we all thought that he wasn't even going to see the field this year, and he now is on the field. So, but I mean, honestly, was this a surprise? Like, was this a surprise that both quarterbacks were injured? I didn't think so. I mean, I was not surprised when Jimmy Garoppolo went down today. I almost knew at some point it was probably going to happen. So.
Yeah, funny thing
I
is
mean, it was
what
pretty
happened.
heartbreaking because we lost. Trey Lance suffered an injury, and then Jimmy Garoppolo suffered an injury right after that. So that's kind of like that's not something you see. You don't see one quarterback get injured and then another quarterback gets injured like following the other quarterback.
Yeah, you're definitely right on that, Chardal. And I mean, the funny thing is, this morning the reports came out about the Niners are definitely not opposed to bringing back Jimmy
Yeah.
Garoppolo, at the right price, and if everything goes right. Like I mean, and then Jimmy Garoppolo the couple hours later in the game gets hurt. I mean, that was definitely coincidental timing of how that report came out, and then Jimmy Garoppolo gets into the game and he gets hurt.
And Grant Cohn literally posted like a few hours before the game. I wouldn't be surprised if he could still get injured, and then a few hours later he's injured. So it's he kind of jinxed the team, which I've definitely done before as well. I remember Broncos game right before he throws that game-ending interception, Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm like, don't throw an interception. We're on the move. Don't throw an interception. I said it to my dad, and then the next play he throws an interception. So I've definitely done that as well, but it just definitely sucks to know that he kind of predicted it. So
Yep.
So when you look at a quarterback, quarterbacks have to think logically when they make their throws. They can't make illogical throws down the field. They throw an 80-yard pass. The pass doesn't even go anywhere. It goes to the sideline. So they got to think properly before they throw. They have to kind of look around the field, kind of scan the field, see who players are open, and then throw ball down to an open player. Hopefully he'll catch the ball and probably score a touchdown or something like that.
Yeah, you're definitely right, Charles. I mean, as a quarterback, you have to make smart decisions. You have to know where you're going with the football. There's a lot that goes into playing the quarterback position. Obviously, having to know the playbook really well. Obviously, going onto the field and executing that, having to make the right decisions in a quick amount of time, and not in a little amount of time. So there's definitely a lot to going into the quarterback. And I mean, obviously, I know Ben knows this also, but quarterback is the most important position on any football team, and especially as Niners fans. We know that especially well. I mean, we've seen it with Jimmy Garoppolo in the past when we didn't have Trey Lance or when we had Nick Mullins and CJ Beathard. But when your quarterback goes down, I mean, it's hard to recover from that, especially even when you have a decent backup. But it's hard to recover from that because a lot of teams don't. They have average backups or just okay backups that are either rookies or undrafted guys. So it's obviously hard to come back from that. But you're definitely right that it takes a lot to going into playing quarterback, and being a quarterback, you have to make the right decisions, and you're kind of the leader of the football team, and the way that you play on a particular Sunday definitely has a huge impact on the outcome of the game.
So it's kind of like very similar to like in hockey, the goalie is the one of the most important positions. In basketball, point guard, football, quarterback, and baseball, pitcher. Those are all like they all rely on the pitcher that this pitcher's not going to have a bad game. So those are like all like the most important positions in all of the sports that people rely on, that they these positions should do really well and then execute.
Yep,
Yeah.
you're definitely right there, Shardal.
I will say that.
So
Oh, go ahead.
So
Go ahead.
about the Buccaneers. Oh, sorry. So about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and 49ers game, do you think that it's going to be pretty? Do you think the score is going to be pretty close? And how many yards do you think Brock Purdy is going to throw for?
I want to say, yeah, it will be pretty close because they have a more experienced quarterback that could like maybe do a little bit more, but I know that Tristan Wirfs is out, I think. And we saw if they don't have a top offensive lineman to defend Nick Bosa and Drake Jackson and Charles Omenihu, you really don't stand a chance. So I do think the 49ers will pull off a win. The Buccaneers don't really have a good offensive line, so they'll be shredded. If, again, getting pressure on Tom Brady is going to be super key because he's not a very mobile quarterback, so he's not going to be able to make plays, and he's not going to be able to break the pocket, and they're going to be able to keep contain of Tom Brady pretty easily. So I do think that's a horrible matchup, but I do think just because the 49ers have a inexperienced quarterback, the Buccaneers defense is pretty good. I do think that it's going to be closer that way, but I do think the 49ers will probably eventually get the dub. Similar to what they did today, I want to say 26-20.
Yeah.
If the 49ers go 8-0, it'll be kind of interesting to see Brock Purdy say "feels great, baby." When the Niners were 8-0, Jimmy Garoppolo said that after the win. Would that be kind of interesting to see Brock Purdy say that on the field after they go 8-0?
Yeah, yeah, that would be.
I mean,
But I thought
Shardal,
that "feels great, baby." I thought that was Jimmy Garoppolo's catchphrase.
that's
He
Jimmy's
says it after
catchphrase.
when they go 8-0.
That's strictly Jimmy's catchphrase. So
And then
yeah,
Brock Purdy can't take it because it's like the 8-0 catchphrase is Jimmy's patent. If Brock Purdy uses it, you have to pay Jimmy to use his catchphrase.
that is Jimmy's catchphrase. And speaking of that, you mentioned about the Niners and Buccaneers matchup. That's definitely going to be an interesting game. I mean, if you look at obviously going up against Tom Brady, who's the GOAT, that's definitely going to be an interesting matchup with Purdy going up against Brady, which I've already mentioned. But Tom Brady, you obviously have to get after Tom Brady. That's a huge key. Pressure Tom Brady. But unlike Tua, Tom Brady, for the most part, is definitely a more accurate quarterback.
That is true.
He's definitely a more accurate quarterback than Tua Tagovailoa, especially Tua today. So, I mean, getting after Brady is huge, and I think it definitely will help with the injuries that they have on the offensive line. But we've seen Brady with the experience that he has; he could still make you pay. He can stand in the pocket, make a right decision, and he'll be on that money with the throw and make accurate throws with making good decisions, even when he is pressured. So that'll definitely be something to look at in the next game. That Brady is definitely a more accurate quarterback. So even if you get pressure, I mean, can you finish off the sack? And if you don't, and Brady can, make you pay with the accuracy, and he's very smart, very intelligent quarterback with that experience of being in the league for that long. I mean, he could definitely make you pay by making a right decision and being accurate with the throw.
That's a good
let's
point
make our
because there were a lot of plays. There were a lot
Oh.
of plays today that were could have been big plays, but were just missed over the middle and then there were also tons of picks. Like that 49ers defense got a ton of takeaways. And the 49ers, I think on 2 interceptions, could only get 2 field goals. So
Yeah.
definitely a lot of takeaways on that play, and then on in this game. And one thing before you go real quick, Chardall, I do want to point out the 49ers definitely controlled this game with time of possession. Because if you look, there was only like 19 minutes of possession for the Dolphins offense. So they're saying if we can run the ball effectively, which we know we can because the Dolphins defense is not very good, then we can take that ball away from that really, really good Dolphins offense. And that's what happened. And I mean, yeah, it was definitely an impressive game for sure.
Yep, and I also think the Niners got lucky in a little bit in a way is that Tua wasn't accurate today, right? And there was a lot of times where Tua would miss throws. There was plays there. There were so many opportunities for Tua, and Tua would just miss on. There was a lot of throws where Jalen Waddle was wide open, Tyreek Hill was wide open, and
Yeah.
they could have easily. This was a game where I think McDaniel had a good game plan coming into the game. The receivers were getting open, and I think the defense did do a good job, right? When Tua did have inaccurate passes at times, or he would, miss high, I think the defense with the interceptions definitely, capitalize on those opportunities. And I would have loved to seen for the offense to put up touchdowns, but they still put up points, so I can't really complain. They were still able to get field goals, and we ended up winning the game. But Tua definitely, in a way, kind of. We were lucky that Tua was inaccurate today because the plays were there. There was many opportunities for big plays. They were moving the ball down the field, and then it would just be Tua with one inaccurate throw or missing on third down, and just missing throws here and there. So, I mean, I think they got lucky in a way that Tua wasn't on his best game today because the plays were there, the receivers were open. It was just Tua wasn't accurate.
I
So
will
let's
say that the play calls were not. The Dolphins really never tried to run the ball, and that's where I went wrong. Because if you think against this defense that you can just throw the ball all over and not control the game and just make all these big plays, you're wrong. And that's why I think the Dolphins really didn't adjust, because they were doing that against other teams. They were making all these splash plays, whatever. But against the Dolphins were inexperienced against, like, they have not played a ton of good defenses this year, because they showed it today that they wanted to play their style of football, but that style of football isn't going to work against a top defense in the NFL like the 49ers. And so this was good experience for them going forward, because they need to find a way to how do I say it? They need to find a way to play a different brand of football against better defenses. So
I mean, I definitely think they could have run the football more, but here's what I will say though. I mean, the Niners are really good at defending the run, and if I'm the Dolphins, I think they definitely should have run the football more. I think they definitely could have done that, so I definitely agree with you there. But I think, like I said, right, like the run game, you definitely could have established that more, like you said. But the Niners are definitely a good run game, and when the Miami tried to run the football, they would sometimes pick up, have 5-yard gain, but for the most part, the Niners shut that down real fast. Now, I definitely agree with you that when Tua was struggling and coming out when he threw an interception, you could have come out and run the football instead of passing like the Niners do, right? Running on first and second, have Tua throw it on third. You could have done that, but obviously decided not to. And the Dolphins, I mean, one reason why I think McDaniel leaned more towards the passing game was because when you have Tyreek and Waddle, I mean, obviously, if I was Mike McDaniel, for example, right? If I'm like, all right, I have Tyreek, Jalen Waddle, I would definitely utilize that, and I would just hope my quarterback can get it there. But obviously that didn't happen. But I definitely agree that they could have run the football more. But I feel like the reason they didn't was because they were hoping that Tua would figure it out and be accurate, and he would get the ball to his playmakers. Obviously, he wasn't able to do that, but I mean that was like I said, that was one of the reasons why we were lucky today in a way, because the plays were there, receivers were getting open. It was just Tua wasn't able to connect.
Hey, Amin, so what are your 5 keys to victory if the 49ers want to get a win over the Buccaneers?
5 keys to victory. I mean, obviously, run the football effectively, make life easy as possible for Purdy, give him some easy throws like you did today. Defense, continue to do your thing, get after Tom Brady, be able to force pressure, and create pressure, make him get the ball out as fast as he can. Make him make quick decisions like you did today. So I know that's not 5 keys, but overall, I mean, just play smart complementary football. Offense, do your thing. Brock Purdy, hopefully he could play well enough next game for us to win. The run game, obviously, we hope that they're efficient and they can do what they did in a way like today. And Jordan Mason, I mean, I love Jordan Mason. And one thing I will say about this game is that there was sometimes on third down where Shanahan would run McCaffrey in between the tackles, and I'm like, dude, McCaffrey isn't that guy. Like he's great, but he isn't that power back like Jordan Mason. And he isn't.
That at all.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have the same question for Benjamin.
I don't really have 5 keys, but one thing that I did see a lot today was they were blitzing a ton, and it was getting to Brock Purdy, and I just like they were. I mean, Mike McGlinchey, what a absolute just I don't even know. That guy's terrible, but they definitely need to find some way to keep the pressure off of Purdy because the Dolphins were definitely getting home with the pressure and they were finding ways to make quick throws. But how long are the 49ers are going to be able to sustain that for? I don't know. So that's one key is just maybe find a fix for like this pressure from that is coming after Brock Purdy. And also the creativity, I mean, was there for the 49ers. So I don't know. I mean, I think Brock Purdy definitely plays his best football in space when you're rolling him out on bootlegs and stuff like that. So I would continue to do that because we did see a few of those plays that were pretty impressive. And then defensively, again, you have to get pressure on Tom Brady. And I do definitely, the one key for this game is Mike Evans versus Charvarius Ward. That's going to be a huge one. How well can they contain that guy? And then stopping the run for the Buccaneers as well. That shouldn't be too hard because the Buccaneers are like one of the worst running teams in the league. So,
Yep. And Chris
So who do you
Godwin.
got winning on Thursday?
What was your question, Shardle?
So who do you got winning on Thursday Night Football between the Seattle Seahawks and the 49ers from Lumen Field in Washington? What's your score prediction? Do you think it's going to be pretty close?
That game is.
this is be a close game. Yeah.
Yep. That game is definitely a far away from now, but Thursday night. I mean that game. I think it'll definitely be a close game. Obviously at Lumen Field, and Brock Purdy most likely will be the starting quarterback. Right? Who would have thought if I told you at the beginning of the year, Lumen Field, Thursday night football prime time against the Seahawks, and Brock Purdy is going to be the starting quarterback, not Trey Lance, not Jimmy Garoppolo, but Brock Purdy is going to be the starting quarterback. You would have called me crazy, but turns out most likely he will be. But I think it definitely will be a close game.
You said the Seahawks versus 49ers. I thought you said Commanders versus 49 Seahawks.
I don't know. Did you say Niners versus Seahawks or
And
Commanders
I
versus
said the Seattle Seahawks versus 49ers.
Oh, okay. My bad. I was hearing you wrong. I'm slow. I want to say we do get that win, but Terry McLaurin, I'm not even thinking about that game right now, but Terry McLaurin, we're going to have to contain him. But the 49ers have done like a really good job at like being so good at defense that like Tyreek Hill at one point was running free. Like he was doing like really good, but we're so good at like restricting the whole other offense. So Terry McLaurin might have his yards, but we're going to shut down that whole offense. I think the 49ers win. But they're going to definitely be a thorn in our side during that game because they're a more talented team than we all perceive them as.
any other topics for us, Shardal?
I think we're gonna keep the streak because I would love to keep the streak going. I mean they're a resilient, dominant team, and it's amazing how they made it all the way this far. They won 5 games in a row. I mean, they're just amazing. Like the fortitude that this team shows is amazing. They have amazing levels of fortitude. Jimmy G, star player, Brock Purdy. He's getting there. When do you think Brock Purdy is going to reach status of Jimmy G? When do you think that he's going to become as great as Jimmy G? Because he's the backup quarterback, so he's trying to get to that level.
I mean, the thing about Jimmy G is that he's been there for so long and he's gotten so many starts under his belt. Obviously, he was a quarterback that one year when we made it to the Super Bowl. It was the quarterback when we made it to NFC Championship game. So I think it would be hard for Purdy to reach the level of Jimmy Garoppolo in terms of when you look at wins, when you look at stats, when you look at obviously games played. So I think it would be hard for him to reach that level. But if I'm Brock Purdy, right, I'm just trying to do what I can every week, trying to play the best football that I can, and just trying to play well enough for my team to win. So if I'm Brock Purdy, that's just me going. That's just my mentality, and I think he did that today. Obviously, played well enough for us to win. There's obviously good things on tape. So if I'm Brock Purdy, I'm just trying to do whatever I can to make smart decisions, play good complementary football, and help and put the Niners in the best position to win every Sunday.
So what were your
My
guys' thoughts
Oh,
on that touchdown pass from Brock Purdy to Kyle Juszczyk? Was that pretty impressive? How he threw that spiral in the air? Because I know Brock Purdy can throw a really really amazing spiral if he spins that ball around and gets that up in the air.
my most impressive, well, like his most impressive, like when, hold on, let me word this differently. When Jimmy Garoppolo gets injured, I was thinking, like, I did not have a lot of faith in this kid to do good. I was thinking, oh shit, like this is kind of going to be like one of those games where we're in it most of the game. Our defense is doing really good, but we're not really getting much offense done. We're not really getting much offense going. And so I thought it was going to be like that. And then when he comes out and throws that touchdown and consistently keeps putting good drives together, I'm like, wow. So with Kyle Shanahan, this proved his genius today, that he's a good coach. And with Kyle Shanahan, I mean, just like if Kyle Shanahan can continue to do this and Brock Purdy can continue to throw the ball this way, we're going to see a lot of wins. The one concern I do have with him is just I don't know if he can throw the ball downfield very well. So a lot of teams are just going to be stacking the box play after play. But yes, it was a very nice pass. Beautiful. I'm going to have to
What
go watch.
qualities have you seen? What qualities have you seen in head coach Kyle Shanahan that make him excel really great on the field?
You want to go, Ben?
No, you're good. Go ahead.
I mean, the X's and O's obviously of Shanahan. When you look at, if I'm an NFL owner or I'm a GM, and I'm looking at head coaching candidates, right? There's obviously those two types of head coaching candidates. One that's great at the X's and O's, one that's a football mind, and then there's coaches like the Robert Salas, the Dan Campbells, who are a leader of men who players love, players can rally around, and players are willing to run through a brick wall for them. And Shanahan's a great X's and O's guys. The play design, obviously, sometimes getting the most out of his players. You saw that with Deebo Samuel last year. But I mean, Shanahan, the X's and O's, just the football IQ, the play design, sometimes the play creativity from Shanahan that you see. I remember the Arizona game, I think it was, where they faked it to the running back and Deebo had this wide open lane. I don't remember the exact play, but I mean, you know what I'm talking about, Ben. I'm pretty sure there was like a fake handoff and Debo, runs, to the left side and Debo actually gets the ball and he takes it to the house. I mean, just things like that where Shanahan's just creativity is just unmatched and it's just like wow, it's like that was crazy, right? Like the play design, everything that was just phenomenal. So I mean, Kyle's a great X's and O's guys, the play design and the play creativity, and sometimes knowing how to utilize some of his players better than the rest of the league. And even if you look at Debo, for example, right? We obviously know Debo how we used him as a running back, but Shanahan was running jet sweeps with the receivers almost a year or 2 years before the rest of the league started doing that. And then you remember Debo now being in the backfield last year. Now even sometimes some other teams are starting to use their wide receivers. Now it's uncommon, but even other teams are starting to use the receivers in the backfield. So Shanahan definitely is a little bit ahead in that aspect. But Shanahan is a great X's and O's guys, and the creativity on certain plays is just unmatched.
So what were your thoughts on the stiff arm by Christian McCaffrey by I think it was Kader Kahu on the Miami Dolphins? He pushed him away when he was trying to run to the end zone. Do you think that he has agility to when you see him stiff arm a lot of people, like push him out of their way, so you can clear that room for him to?
I think Christian McCaffrey had a lot of good runs today, but I don't understand. Sorry, I had a call. I don't understand why he was running him through the tackles so much when Christian McCaffrey isn't made like that. So yes, that was a very impressive run, and he ran hard today. I just don't know. I think Kyle Shanahan's at this point with Christian McCaffrey where he doesn't even really know how to use him because he's the type of running back that you can't really run in. He's not effective through the tackles, but he's not really like, I don't know. I just think Kyle Shanahan still is trying to figure out how he can use Christian McCaffrey. And so, I mean, it was a great play. He had a lot of good runs, but I just don't think they're really using him right.
Yep, you made a great point, Ben, and we're waiting for Shardall to get back in the stream. But you made a great point. Like, I think there's a little bit of an echo on your side.
Really?
I don't know. Okay, it's not there anymore. It's not there anymore.
Okay.
But I mean, you made a great point about Christian McCaffrey, and that's the thing about Christian McCaffrey. He's definitely involved in this offense, right? You definitely see him getting his carries. You definitely see him getting involved in the passing game. Now, the issue with Christian McCaffrey, obviously not an issue, but something that I wish they changed, like you said, was running him in between the tackles. I really like Jordan Mason today, and I feel like on certain third downs, you could have used Jordan Mason. Jordan Mason to pick
Yeah.
up that 2 yard, on a 3rd and 2.
Yeah.
And you look at
Yes.
Jordan
Yeah.
Mason, right? Jordan Mason's a more physical runner than Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey is obviously more agile, more quick, will give you that burst of speed. Christian McCaffrey is definitely a faster runner, but Jordan Mason's that physical runner. And also with Elijah Mitchell, you kind of lost that, right? Christian McCaffrey was obviously agile, quick, but Elijah Mitchell was kind of your power back in a way, that physical guy that you can use on 3rd and shorts, and he got injured. And I think now Jordan Mason can be that guy. And you look at it in this game, like there would be times where Jordan Mason would get stuffed in the backfield and he would fight and he would pick up 3 or 4 extra yards. And I mean, on a 3rd and 2, I wouldn't mind that on a 3rd and 2, right? Like, let's say you get stuffed and Jordan Mason's fighting for an extra yard or two, and he eventually picks up the first down, and he's a bigger, stronger guy who's a more physical runner, whereas to Christian McCaffrey's obviously faster and more agile. And if he gets open space, he obviously has a better chance because of that speed to score a touchdown. But Jordan Mason, I think, in a 3rd and short, and if you need a first down on a short yardage play, I think Jordan Mason is definitely the better option. Or TDP, who didn't get that much run today, but I think those guys are definitely a better option in that particular situation on short yardage downs than Christian McCaffrey.
I
So
don't know. Go ahead.
my question to Amin was, what were your thoughts on that stiff arm by McCaffrey? Because I've never seen him push another player off of him.
I mean, that was a great play by Christian McCaffrey. Ben, you kind of said it was a great play by Christian McCaffrey, and I mean, Christian McCaffrey definitely got involved today, had that touchdown. And Christian McCaffrey is definitely making life easier for not only Jimmy Garoppolo but Brock Purdy today. If the play breaks down and you need a quick dump off, you need a quick check down, Christian McCaffrey's that guy, and Christian McCaffrey can take a 2 yard, a 2 yard dump pass or like check down from Brock Purdy or Jimmy Garoppolo and can break a couple of tackles and pick up that first down. So Christian McCaffrey has definitely been huge today, this not only today but this whole entire year. And he's definitely making life easier for the Niners quarterbacks.
What qualities do you see from Christian McCaffrey that make him excel really great on the field, like just as a player, as a leader?
I would say, like, in football, you also have to have the education aspect of it. And I think the reason why the 49ers brought him in and really liked this guy is because he's just such a good, he was a good student coming out. And he's just a really smart player he knows, there are players in the NFL that just are, that aren't as good students and that have had troubles off the field. This guy seems like he's a professional person. He's a gentleman. And that's what I think why the 49ers are so attracted to him, and what makes him so good is because he's also on the mental side of things. So on top of it,
So what I like about Christian McCaffrey is that I like that in recent games he put him in as quarterback, and he was a running back. So he can do multiple positions at one time. Would you say he's kind of like an all around player who can do, if they put him in any position, that he can excel in that position?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for
He
sure.
Yep.
was good as a quarterback. They put him in as quarterback, and he was really good. Christian McCaffrey. So would you say that you agree with that fact that he can, if you insert any position, he'll make that position really great? Doesn't matter what position that may be.
I
Check
mean,
down. He's a good check down option.
yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, go ahead. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, with Christian McCaffrey, it's that's one of the reasons why the Niners brought him in, is that with Christian McCaffrey, you definitely can play positionless football. You can line up Christian McCaffrey in the slot. You can line up him on the outside. He can also play the running back position and be lined up in the backfield. So there's a lot of things that you do with Christian McCaffrey. He's not only a great running back, but he's also a great pass catching back. So there's definitely a lot of things that you can do with Christian McCaffrey. He's definitely a positionless player. When you talk about, you can line him up in the backfield, you can line him up in the slot, and that's one of the reasons why the Niners brought him in.
yeah, I completely agree. I think he's gonna make quarterbacks' lives easier. But the thing I think with you would definitely have to work. You have you have to lean on your other backs as well a little bit more. Like Ty Davis Price, I would like to see him get a little bit more work. Jordan Mason, again, like I don't think you could sustain handing it off a million times to Christian McCaffrey. So I think you have to definitely lean on Jordan Mason a little bit more. And maybe as the games go on, Kyle Shanahan will have more trust in Jordan Mason. I just don't know what there isn't. I mean, he hasn't fumbled the ball, so I don't know why he's not running in more with Jordan Mason and giving more trust to him. I'm not really sure why that isn't working.
So we
Or
have
that
a
isn't
comment from
happening.
the young Montana. He says, "What's up, goats? Speedy recovery to Jimmy. What a nice win for us."
Yeah. Hopefully it's not a broken foot. That's what it's rumored to be.
I heard it was a fracture. I'm not sure. Broken fracture. I don't know exactly what it is. Hopefully it's not too bad. When he went hurt, when Jimmy Garoppolo got hurt, I was like, hopefully it's just a mild ankle sprain if we're lucky, or just an ankle sprain in general. But since it's a fracture, I don't know how bad it will be. Depending on the MRI tomorrow, he might have to get surgery, or depending on how bad the injury is after the MRI. My biggest hope is that they're able to get Jimmy back for the playoffs. That's just, it was a season-ending fracture. Oh no. Oh, okay. So now we got Purdy the whole season. Oh, yikes. Okay.
Do you think we'll
Well,
go back to Trey Lance
no. So
before
so
we?
I was just about to say.
Yeah.
Grant asked the question in the press conference, and Kyle shut that down real fast, and he was like, "No, we're not. Lance is not coming back this year." Okay,
Well,
so
maybe he's just doing that to get the pressure off of him, and I mean that's definitely maybe he's doing that to like a strategic move to like say, oh, we're not like to like with a team. Maybe he's doing it to not tip his cap to other teams, if you know what I'm saying.
I get what you're saying. I doubt Lance will be back. I honestly wish he would come back. I mean, obviously you don't want to rush Trey Lance back if he's not ready to go, but come playoff time, if you need Trey Lance, right? If it's January, late January, and you're in the divisional round or whatever it might be, and Trey is able to play, I definitely wouldn't mind seeing Trey, and I would have loved to seen Trey, but I mean, Kyle shut that down real fast, and I think they're gonna not rush him back into things, and let him sit out the season, and hopefully he'll be back next year ready to go, and hopefully he doesn't get hurt next year. I mean, that's obviously a big fingers crossed with a mobile quarterback. Any mobile quarterback, because you obviously don't want him to get hurt. And we saw that in a way with Jimmy Garoppolo's first season, right? Jimmy Garoppolo, his first full season as a starter, tore his ACL. Was took him some time to come back. The next two seasons wasn't really the same 2017 Jimmy Garoppolo. And then same thing with Trey Lance, his first full season that we were expected to see him as a starter, he got hurt, and that's what's so rough about the injury with Trey Lance, is that now obviously Jimmy Garoppolo is hurt, but Trey Lance hasn't played that much football. He missed his last college season due to COVID. He only played 2 games last year. This year was supposed to be a starting year. He obviously got hurt again this year. So next year, I mean, we'll see what happens if they bring Jimmy Garoppolo back. But if you look at next year, I mean, that'll really be Trey Lance's first year if he's able to stay healthy. So that'll definitely be interesting. And then we'll see where his confidence at. Obviously, after that ankle injury, will he be as confident as a runner? Will that, if the play breaks down, will he be willing, or be willing to run or pick up that first down, or will he be a little bit more reserved and be like, no, I don't want to get hurt again? And we'll see what happens. But next year really is going to be Trey Lance's first full season, and especially with that injury, we'll see where Trey Lance stands.
So when you look at quarterback Brock Purdy, it's kind of risky because he's our only quarterback, and if he gets injured, we have no other quarterback. They probably have to get somebody from the practice squad, which is not what we want. We don't want to get somebody, because I know in the past we got a lot of quarterbacks from the practice squad, which is not, that's if they got to do that and that's the course of action to take, then if Purdy get somebody from the practice squad.
Hey, Cam Newton's always out there, man.
So
I doubt they bring in Cam Newton. Bring back Mohamed Sanu as backup quarterback. I mean, that guy has a cannon. I will say there's the clips of him having a cannon, but that was a good one. That was a good joke, but I doubt that's gonna happen. I don't know. I don't think I wish I wouldn't mind bringing in Cam Newton, but I doubt that also happens. We'll see what they do with the quarterback position, because
but
I
like
obviously I think
when Brock
go
Purdy
ahead,
gets
Charlotte.
injured, like I don't know, they might have to just, like, when somebody goes to the Niner game, they might have to just pull somebody from the audience, like say like, hey, come on, like you put on the helmet, put on the shoulder pads, and just come and play quarterback. And hopefully that'll be me, because I can play a really good quarterback. I can throw the ball really well, so I think I'll be a really good quarterback for the Niners. I have a good kind of an arm. I can I can run fast. I'm fast. I have lots of agility. I can run down the field. Just get me as quarterback.
Hey, make an
Yeah, bring
addition.
Charlotte as quarterback, dude. Bring
Yeah,
bring in the backup Brock Purdy.
I'll make a video of myself playing, and then I'll send that to Kyle Shanahan. He'll watch it, and then if he likes it, he'll get me as quarterback.
Hey man, if Purdy gets hurt, the Niners should give you a call. They should bring you in.
Yeah, I should, because they have no other
should.
player to be quarterback. That's what I was joking about. People is that if Purdy gets injured, then put me as quarterback. I'll win you some games. I'll be cool. People after the game, people will get autographs from me after the match at Levi's. Is that
If Brock Purdy goes down, the Niners should definitely give you a call. Young Montana says, "I believe in you, Shardal. I believe in you also, Shardal."
Yeah, at this point, if Brock Purdy goes down, man, that will be an absolute disaster. 3 quarterbacks in 1 year. That's like the Ravens running back squad last year. What happened to them? But that would be bad. So let's just hope he doesn't go down.
What about George Kittle? Would you like him? Would you like to see George Kittle play quarterback?
No, absolutely not. He's way too big to play quarterback. I think the best quarterback on that team right now would probably be Brandon Ayuk, maybe. I don't know. He kind of looks like the most athletic on that offense.
I think Brandon Ayuk. That's the thing, though. The arm, though, right? Like, one thing is like I don't know. Obviously, like watching football,
maybe Christian McCaffrey.
Seeing Christian McCaffrey did have that nice throw. He threw a beautiful spot in that Rams game. But like one thing I've noticed is like if I went to like if you go to like an NFL shop, you go to the Niners game and you look at like the actual NFL size ball, it's huge. Like it's ginormous.
Yeah.
Like when you play like school
football.
I
know somebody who could be quarterback. Maybe if Brock Purdy gets injured, maybe Christian McCaffrey plays quarterback really well. What about Christian McCaffrey? He could be our quarterback.
I mean, Christian McCaffrey definitely had that nice throw against the Rams, but I think Jacob Eason might be still on the Niners practice squad, so I think he's definitely a backup for them. I'm interested to see though, because if Young Montana is right and Jimmy Garoppolo is out for the season, and it is a season-ending fracture, and Shanahan said that in the press conference, I'm definitely going to go back and watch. So if it is season-ending, if it is season. Yeah, go ahead,
Young Montana says, just don't let them pull your hair from behind.
if it is season ending, I'm interested to see if they do address that backup quarterback position. If they call up, if they do make a call and try to get Nick Foles or someone, whoever it might be, I'm interested to see what they do with the backup position. I wouldn't mind if they brought back Ben Kurt, who was on the practice squad a couple of days ago. I know you watched the press conference. I'm actually interested to see what Shanahan said in that whole entire press conference. Man, I mean, I never thought I would be sad like when Jimmy Garoppolo gets hurt. I mean, in the past, right? Like last year, we were like all wanting Trey. We were like, we all were looking forward to see Trey Lance. Now, like this year, I'm like, damn, Jimmy's hurt. Like our shots, our shot to potentially win the Super Bowl, or even though it wasn't guaranteed, or we didn't have the greatest chance with Jimmy Garoppolo either. I mean, we definitely had a better shot with Jimmy than we do with Brock Purdy. So I mean, and Brock Purdy's now our last quarterback. Jimmy Garoppolo's the backup before Trey Lance got hurt. Then Trey Lance goes down, and then Jimmy Garoppolo was a starter, and then now Jimmy Garoppolo is also hurt, and now Brock Purdy. I mean, he's your quarterback, third string quarterback. So your chances now with Jimmy Garoppolo getting hurt to potentially make a deep playoff run and potentially make it to the Super Bowl, your shot definitely went way down. Your percentage of making a deep playoff run definitely went down with the Garoppolo injury, and it sucks to see.
So Brock Purdy gets injured. Who's going to be our new quarterback? Because before Trey Lance was quarterback one, and then Brock Purdy was quarterback number two. But like if they get all those three quarterbacks get injured, who's going to be one quarterback two?
Yep,
Because we
that's
have
gonna be the
nothing.
question. Yeah, that's gonna be the question that we're gonna see what they do. We're gonna see if they address that position at all. If they, call up teams, maybe potentially make a trade for another backup, a veteran backup,
How
or if they just, sign these undrafted guys like a Ben Kurt, or go and pick up some of these free agent
how about
quarterbacks. But that
how about I be quarterback one, and what about Benjamin quarterback two?
Yes,
What do you agree about
I
that? Do you agree with
full
that? That we
five.
should both be the new
I throw
quarterbacks for
all
the Niners?
five. What?
I was saying, do you agree that the 49ers should make you quarterback one, and they should make me quarterback two?
They should make none of us quarterback. I'd really be afraid to see me on the field. I'd get knocked out in like less than a minute. So
you
I
line up
think
Aaron Donald's right
No,
right
no,
in
but
front of you, you know.
for me, if
I
I was
think we're
quarterback
better.
one, I would love to
We're
see
better.
my.
I think better just picking a random guy off the street than us.
But I would
So
love to see my parents see me excel on the field. When I'm playing quarterback, because I would
yeah.
love to see them see their son playing quarterback and playing football, and then just holding up a sign, making a sign for me, and then holding that up in the stands, waving it around.
For sure, man. For sure.
Because I want my name to be introduced in the starting lineup when they choose all the players for the starting lineups. I want my name to be introduced, like when I run out of the tunnel.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool for sure. Definitely. It
Yeah,
looks like
that'll
an
be a dream come true for me.
experience.
That definitely would be cool. I mean, that would be a dream come true for a lot of us, right? You one day get older and you're the starting quarterback for the Niners, or starting quarterback for any team in the NFL. So that's definitely a dream, and that definitely would be cool.
I'll just maybe what I'll do is maybe I'll just put myself in a Niner uniform with my number, and I'll just Photoshop myself onto Levi's Stadium. Like I'll put Jimmy Garoppolo's face on my body, and then I'll just Photoshop that on there. Like I'll put my face on Jimmy Garoppolo's body, and then I'll put his number and everything. Shot me over there. Wouldn't that be funny? Like I Photoshop myself and he's in Jimmy G's face, and then I cut Jimmy G's face off and I put on my face.
Yeah, that would.
And I
That would
Photoshop
definitely.
myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was nice for you guys to hop on to my YouTube channel. kind of I never had you had you guys on, so it was kind of very different. But I mean, I just want to say, you guys have any final thoughts before we wrap up the show? Anything else you'd
No,
like to say
I mean, I appreciate you for
to the
having me
Niner
on,
fan
Shardol.
base there?
I appreciate you for having me on, Shardol. It was a pleasure to come on your channel. Definitely appreciate the invite. Was ecstatic when I got the invite. Was definitely excited to come on and do a show with you. You did a phenomenal job. You killed it. Subscribe to Shardol's channel if you haven't already. SG Sports Talk, a phenomenal channel. So go subscribe to Shardol's channel. You did a phenomenal job today, Shardol. Keep up the amazing work that you're doing. Love to see you on the YouTube and whenever you post. Definitely try to catch your streams whenever I can. So great job, Shardol, and appreciate the invite.
Benjamin,
Yeah,
I really appreciate that
it was.
you decided to hop onto my channel because I really wanted to get you, and I bet when you got the text from me, I bet you were ecstatic when you got the tweet from me that I wanted to have you on my show.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I was.
You know,
I'm happy to be on anybody's show as a guest. So I was definitely very excited when I got that text last week. I was a little bit sick, so I had to postpone until this week. And what a game to cover! That game was exciting. But we'll see what happens with the 49ers in the coming weeks with now their third string quarterback, which I'm still in shock about. So.
and it was really surprising because when I tweeted you, normally they take a while for you to get back to me, but you got back to me right away. I sent the tweet, and then you got back to me like minutes later. I saw your tweet, so
No,
no, that's
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
special because normally people don't when you're on Twitter, people don't respond to you immediately. But
yeah.
you and Amin just responded me right away. Like I just saw your tweet when I looked on the place where you look at all the responses on Twitter. I saw your response right away. So that was one of the greatest things because when I heard from you, I was like, this is amazing. I get to have you two on my channel, and that's the greatest thing that anybody can ever receive.
Anytime, Shardol. Anytime. It was a pleasure coming on with you today. It was a pleasure. Glad the Niners got a W. Glad we got to talk about our Niner victory. But I mean, like I said, keep doing the amazing stuff that you're doing on your channel. It was a pleasure doing this show with you. You did a phenomenal job. You killed it. And if the Niners need a backup, call Shardol. Call Shardol. If Brady gets hurt, call Shardol to be the backup quarterback.
Um, I'm thinking about doing another post game show when the 49ers go against Tampa Bay. Are you two available that day to do another post game show?
We'll see, man. I usually do a lot of school on Sundays and catch up. Well, this week I had a lot of school to do, so I'll see what my schedule is looking like. Maybe.
Hey, Amin, could you ask Couch Chronicles if I could join straight out of the Bay? Who arranges the Straight Out of the Bay podcast? Is it Couch Chronicles? Is it Jay in the Bay? Who arranges it?
I mean, we rotate every week. You might want to hit up one of them, either Kelts or Jay, whoever's doing it this week. I have to see who's doing it this week, but about next Sunday, I mean, usually like Ben, I'm usually doing school. I gotta go after this stream and go do homework and different things like that.
Yeah.
But I mean,
So,
it was a pleasure.
Sorgi Story says, "What's up, guys? Just wanted to remind you that the Bears still suck."
Man, I feel bad for Justin Fields. I ain't gonna lie. I feel so bad for Justin Fields. That man does everything. Now he had the interception at the end of the game, but like Fields, like I mean, he literally tries to put the Bears on his back every week and just falls like inches short. So I really do feel bad for Justin Fields. But I
When
mean,
Benjamin, when do you think it's the time to fire Matt Eberflus?
Maybe I would give him a few years. I don't think after this year you can really.
yeah.
Their team is so bad. You really think you can assume that he's just not right for Justin Fields. I think there's been certain moments this year that they've made strides. So probably maybe if in a few years he's not showing anything, you have to get Justin Fields a little bit more talent before you can make a real assumption. So I'm not really sure, but definitely not this year.
But I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and thanks for hopping on my channel. It was a true pleasure having you two on. Um, Hopefully you guys can join me on another post game show because I really
Yeah.
love to get you on as many post game shows as I can. If you don't mind to hop on, but if you have something to do, I totally understand that you have things to do and you're busy and you're not always able to get on my show.
Yeah.
So have a great one.
Deuces.
See ya.